What's going on, world? DS1 Ross, and we back here with another one. Shout out to the masculine mercenaries, man. One love to all the matter mercenaries, man. Now, in this video, I want to talk about the progressive Pookie. The progressive Pookie. Now, as we know, it's been a long, long back and forth cyber war between Pookies and RayRays and the circle called ELs. And the narrative just switched up into now high value versus non-high value, progressive versus non-progressive, um, non-select versus select. Same thing. But what a lot of these people don't like to talk about is they don't like to talk about the anomalies. And the anomalies are the progressive Pookie or the, RayRay who's unstoppable even though he's had a lot of setbacks in life. But in this video, we're going to talk about the progressive Pookie and how, for the most part, a lot of us black men, we go through our life, especially if we grew up in low income housing, poverty. A lot of us, it took us longer to develop into what we are now. And it took this long because the environment, the circumstances that are in the environment, and the people who suffer from those circumstances. And no matter how much people like to downplay those things are very important in the development of a child, especially the mind of a black boy. So, for the most part, a lot of us start out, and in our young age, we do a lot of things. We get into some trouble. We do things that are non-productive or things that we think we may have to do in order to progress. And you see that where a lot of guys get into, you know, the street thing. A lot of them get into hip hop music. And for the most part, the consensus is that these men are contributing to the stereotypes of black men, these Pookies and these RayRays, right? And in this video, y'all can make sure y'all check the description box. I'm going to leave the link to the story. But the example I'm going to specifically use for this video is Waka Flocka. Shout out to Waka Flocka, man. Shout out to him. Now, this brother grew up in New York. Grew up in New York. A lot of people may think that he didn't, but he grew up in New York. He was born in New York, grew up in New York for a while, and then he moved to Atlanta. And as y'all know, he started out with Gucci Mane as his hype man and just running around with Gucci Mane. And then he started rapping and he had a couple of hit records. But the type of music he made was what people would call violent, very aggressive, very forthcoming. And I'm not gonna lie, when that song was out, it was popular, hard in the paint. It was an anthem, and it definitely got the party and the situation crunk. Things, and sometimes things did get out of hand when that song came on. So people will consider Waka Flocka a Pookie because of that. But little do we know, and what I just found out recently is years ago, and if you watch Waka Flocka's videos, I'm gonna say if you go back maybe 3 years and you watch his interviews, you'll see his transformation. And Waka Flocka made a conscious decision to leave hip hop. And he said that he went into the EDM world and he made a lot more money in the EDM world. And not only that, in the EDM world, he didn't have to be so um violent and negative. Waka Flocka also became um a PETA representative for, pets and things like that. But the biggest thing that I wanted to bring up about Waka Flocka's progress and his development is the fact that he just received his master's, if I'm not mistaken, in humanitarianism and philanthropy. Now, what will make a dude like Waka Flocka want to get a degree in that? And that's the last thing, when I read about it, that's the last thing I thought he would do. But it just shows that the progressive Pookie is more prevalent than we think. A lot of the guys that we call, you know, bad dudes and how they promoted negative things and just being in hip hop not being a good thing for the community. A lot of these guys are actually coming back and they're doing great things and they're putting themselves in positions to do great things. And this is what we see with Waka Flocka. Waka Flocka is a progressive Pookie because he's putting himself in a predicament where he can really give back to the people. He's a progressive Pookie. So what we say is an anomaly. I'm gonna go ahead and go out on a limb and say within the next 10 to 20 years, the progressive Pookie, which is an anomaly, will be somewhat of the norm. Because I'm already starting to see how these black men are becoming greater things. They're aspiring to become greater things in the world. And Waka Flocka is one of them. So y'all make sure y'all just check the description box for the story. Like I said, shout out to Waka Flocka again. And shout out to all my progressive Pookies. Shout out to all of y'all, man. Salute to the masculine mercenaries. One love to all my madam mercenaries. And I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. And if you're new here, hit the notification bell so you're notified every time I drop some new content right here on Sheep Stay Sleep TV. And I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. Peace.